Welcome back to Cooking with Coach. I am your HMFIC and head coach, Bobby, and today, as promised and as advertised, we're going to do a healthy version of gumbo. Healthier version of gumbo. Couple of differences with my gumbo from what you'll see from traditional stuff. First and foremost, I'm not going to use chicken thighs. You'll see that used a lot, and I understand why. It doesn't dry out as much. It holds flavor a little bit better than just plain white chicken breast does. But from a health standpoint, I'm going to go with the chicken breast. I'm also going to go with some low nitrite, actually zero nitrite, andouille sausages. That's just a couple of ways that we can take a look at improving the quality of our nutrients that we're getting while making things just a little bit healthier. Eliminating those nitrites from some of our meats certainly helps with that. I've already taken the time to go ahead and pre-prep some stuff so you don't have to see me go through all that. Behind me, what you're going to see is I've got 2 bell peppers, 1 jalapeno. I add a jalapeno to mine because I like to spice mine up. That's not necessary. 2 white onions, 5 stalks of celery, and then I've got a pound of okra over here. What we're also going to use, or what I use when making my my gumbo, is I'm going to use some bone broth. This is organic bone broth. It's 9 extra grams of protein per serving. Gonna add with that flavor and help also with that health side of things. So, without further ado, first and foremost, what we gotta do is go ahead and cut up our chicken here and get it ready. We wanna slice this up in bite-sized pieces so that as it cooks up, we're ready to rock and roll with everything that we need to do as far as eating is concerned, because at the end of the day, really, that's all I want to do, is I want to eat good food. And the whole purpose of this is to show you that you can still eat tasty and flavorful foods and not miss out on some of those things that many people associate with eating healthy. We don't have to go through that. So as far as chicken is concerned, I've got about 2.5 pounds of chicken cutlets here, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to throw them in the pan here in just a second. I've already got my oil hot so that we can cook that up, but I want to make sure that I get this cut into bite-sized pieces to start with. A couple of pro tips for you while you're doing your meal prep or your cooking in general. I say pro tips, I'm not really a pro at this, but I'm getting better. First and foremost, if you're going to be cutting meats and veggies, make sure that you keep them separate. I like to cut my veggies first so I don't have to worry about any cross-contamination if I'm going to have raw veggies and stuff like that. If you're working with jalapenos, another pro tip on this one is wear gloves, okay? Some rubber gloves while you're cutting jalapenos can cut down on pain later on. Let's just go with pain, that's what it is. It's a lesson I've learned the hard way, and you'd think for as many times as I've been pepper sprayed, for those of you who are just watching this and don't know my background, I didn't get pepper sprayed because I was getting arrested. I got pepper sprayed because you have to do that when you're a police officer. Not because I was getting chased by the police. Make sure we understand that right away, right? But what happens when you cut jalapenos is those juices will get on your hands. It's not really a juice, that's being pretty nice about it. It's actually an oil. It's oil capsule resin is what it is. And that's the oil from the inside of the pepper and the seed and all that. What happens is you get that on your hands and you go and touch another body part. Well, guess what just got transferred? That's right, that oil. Most of the time it's when somebody reaches up and tries to either wipe something off of their face, so now their face is burning or their eyes are burning, or they don't wash their hands before they go to the bathroom. Yeah. See how that one goes, right? If you can't see, I've got a trash can over there. I'm just not throwing chicken scraps on the floor. What I'm doing is eliminating some of the veinous material. It gets on your cutlet sometimes. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. So I just cut around that. And I don't have to worry about it later on. So first step we're going to do now that we're starting to get our meat kind of prepped up here a little bit is We're gonna throw this into the pan and we are gonna start cooking our meat. One of the other things that I've done as far as improving the nutritional content of this gumbo is I'm not using corn oil or mixed vegetable oils. I'm using extra virgin olive oil to do my cooking. So you got to be careful with that because it doesn't actually cook the same as some of the other stuff does. But the reason I do that is that I'm going to eliminate some of those omega-6s a little bit, and the olive oil I'm using actually has some additional omega-3s in it. So we're improving our fat content a little bit as far as a nutritional content is concerned. So we can go into a whole diatribe about why omega-3s are important for us and all that stuff, but I'll save that for another video for another day. Just suffice to say that omega-3s, omega-6s are important as well, but we usually don't have a tendency as Western dieters to be short on omega-6s. We get plenty of those. But our omega-3s is where we suffer sometimes. So it's important for us to make sure that we get those in our diet through a variety of sources, whether it be through supplementation, vitamin supplementation, or through our meals. And in this case, a little bit of extra in the extra virgin olive oil. And then also through fish. If you're eating cold water fish, that's another great source of those, salmons, things like that. So, here we go. Got juices all over me. Now I'm using, most recipes are going to call for about 1.5 pounds of andouille sausage. Obviously I'm using about 2 pounds of it. Going to increase the protein content a little bit in our meal. Another video tip is make sure your dogs aren't around, as you guys can hear those scratching out on the door. Because I put them outside, they're mad at me right now. All right, all of our andouille sausage is in bite-sized pieces. So now we're just going to go ahead and brown up our meat. So one of those things that I forgot to mention at the beginning is making your roe. Anybody who cooks Creole style or Cajun style will tell you that you got to have a good roe, whether you're making etouffee or you're making gumbo. And really what that is that's a flour and either oil or butter mixture, depending on who you're talking to. A lot of people prepare theirs ahead of time. I just don't have the patience or the time to do that. So I am making my roe while I'm browning my meat. So I've added my, in this case, almond flour, because I said a little healthier, right? Almond flour and my extra virgin olive oil in at the beginning before I put my meat in there, so I can kind of get that all going at the same time. So that's what's going on over here right now. So what I've got is my meat is browned up, it's all cooked, and my roe is almost a peanut butter color. If you can kind of imagine that in your head, and that's kind of where I like it. The longer you cook it, your roe, the darker it gets. It all kind of depends on what your taste preference is at this point. This is where I like mine. So I'm going to add my vegetables in now. And get those kind of soaking up some of that flavor that's in there. Now what I'll do is I'm gonna make sure I put an ingredients list in the description for you guys, so you have all of that, how much I had, all of that stuff, so you can put it all together. This. And then I've already added some of my other seasonings, as you guys saw. What I'm going to do is let this kind of simmer in there just a little bit, and then I'm going to add in my bone broth, and I'm going to add in my okra, get that stirring around, and then I'm going to let that simmer and slow cook for a little while, let all those flavors mend together. At the end of the day, what I'm going to end up doing is making up some jasmine rice to serve with this. If you're on more of a keto style, cauliflower rice would work just fine. Or no rice, you don't even have to eat it. You can just eat it kind of as a stew without that. But bear with me, I'm gonna get this all put together. I'll show you what it looks like here in just a little bit.